here are your hosts of Financially Tuned, Mark Fricks and Tony Shore.
Welcome to another show of Financially Tuned with me, Mark Fricks, from Master Plan Retirement Consultants, and our co-host today, Tony Shore. We are really glad that you've joined us today because in this show, we're going to be discussing your retirement lifestyle and what that may look like for you.
Well, I like that. I like the fact that we're going to be talking about a retirement lifestyle and how to achieve that lifestyle. This is going to be an important one, Mark, for our listeners. But first, Mark, I have to tell you something. Today,
what's that?
I am so excited because, Mark Fricks, you are such a great guy. This is so fun to do these shows with you. I just wanted to thank you for having me on. And we always have fun with it, don't we?
Well, yeah, let me take just a moment and write a check. How do you want me to make this out? Is that Mr. Tony Shore or just
Mark,
Tony Shore?
You don't have to pay me to be your friend. You may have to pay others, but I'll be your friend regardless because I love doing this show with you, and we have a lot of fun with it. And you're always a wealth of information for our listeners. Thanks. That's good. And I've been doing good. I
appreciate that.
I've been doing good. How about you?
Okay.
How are you doing?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's a new season. The spring is in the air, and we'll have a beautiful day, and then we'll have 3 days of rain. But it makes you look forward to the next beautiful day. So, April showers bring May flowers, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Well, this is the season where we need and we get rain. So without it,
absolutely,
there's a lot of areas of our country that need rain. So. It's not the worst thing. Well, you know what? Back on topic, retirement lifestyle. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about this and what angles you're going to tell us about today. I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, yeah, Tony, and I think it's really important because I think folks don't really think about how life will change in retirement. I mean, a lot of times we'll think about we get to travel, we get to spend more time with the grandkids or whatever. But, it is a huge shift in our lives, probably the biggest one besides maybe getting married that people will experience. And it's, of course, going to affect the rest of your life. So I want our listeners this morning, I want them to picture a mountain in their minds. I want to get a picture of a mountain. If you're not driving, close your eyes. If you are, of course, don't. But here in Atlanta, you don't need to even take your eyes off the road for a moment. But look at this mountain, and I want you to imagine climbing up the left side of the mountain, and that is your life as you're approaching your goal or your pinnacle of retirement. And really, the items you have to take care of when you're preparing for retirement is fairly simple. You want to put money away, and that's the biggie. You want to stash as much money away as you can. You want to take advantage of any employer retirement plans and especially matches and things of that nature. But otherwise, it's just kind of keeping things balanced and maybe picking a few good mutual funds. But Tony, once that pinnacle gets close, just like climbing a mountain, there are a lot of things that are going to happen. And when they reach that peak of retirement and start the other side of the mountain going back down, there are so many things that occur. And we're going to touch on some of those things today. We, of course, talk about, the lifestyle change. Suddenly there are two people in the house all the time, perhaps, a husband and a wife, and they're both stumbling over each other. And, we laugh about that, but we sometimes tell our clients we have another room around the corner from my main office that is our counseling office, and we'll take our clients over there for some marriage counseling. It really is a difficult time. So the lifestyle change, and then also when it comes to to money and finances, there's the change in how risk should be looked at and how assets should be divided up and how they should be invested and things like that. So hopefully we'll be able to touch on all of that today.
Well, I think it's going to be a great discussion, and that's something that's really good to talk about. Now, as you had people picturing that, I closed my eyes as you were talking and pictured that mountain, but I'm worried about the ropes holding me. I think too much pizza over the years probably for me, but as long as you're there to help me, and I know that you provide your clients with really strong ropes and good guidance, so That's good. What do you suggest our listeners do to make sure they have strong enough ropes, that they have the retirement lifestyle that they've all worked so hard for?
Well, we've talked a lot about the main thing, and the main thing is the main thing. And that main thing is having a roadmap. That's the first thing. If you're approaching retirement and you don't have a plan, and Tony, when I say a plan is not some ideas in your head. A plan is not a spreadsheet. A plan is not, some notes or one discussion with your spouse. A plan is actually sitting down, usually with professional help, financial professional, to actually map out step by step, year by year, exactly where income's coming from, what risk may approach, how to strategize through those risks, and it's really a well thought out plan. So that's the big picture answer is, if you don't have a retirement plan, I just don't know how folks have a peace of mind in retirement when they don't have an actual plan that is also updated every year. And that's the thing our clients tell us as they go through the process of creating this plan is the peace of mind. I mean, you can just almost see it on some of their faces. They just, by the third meeting, they look like the weight of the world has come off of them because they know what it's going to look like. So that's the first part of that answer. And then you start thinking about, I guess the next big key is, what does your retirement look like? What will you be doing? Where will you be living? How will you be spending your time? And that's going to affect really everything else as well.
Sure, it will. Now, once somebody has a plan in place, you have to create a retirement income. How can our listeners begin to create a retirement income for themselves?
Well, that's really the first big step, isn't it, Tony? I mean, we begin looking at where is our paycheck coming from. We've been collecting a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks or monthly for however many years we've been working, maybe 30, 40, 45 years. And now that paycheck is going to stop. And there's three places that paychecks come from in retirement. Number one is the biggie meaning the one that most people get, and that is Social Security. So we start there because a lot of people are leaving money on the table when it comes to Social Security. They're not getting everything they should be getting. And that's our first layer of expertise here at Master Plan Retirement Consultants is maximizing the Social Security income. And then we begin looking at what else is available. And the next place we look is pension plans. Do you qualify for a pension? And of course, every year as I sit down with clients, there are fewer and fewer folks that have a pension plan available. I think the latest I read was maybe less than 30% of retirees now have some kind of pension. And most of those I'm finding nowadays are very small. Maybe
Sure.
they qualified back years ago and then the company quit offering it or something like that. So that's the second step is what kind of pension. And then comes the real work. And that's when we begin looking at how do we plug that gap or fix that retirement cliff. Sometimes we refer to it as that. The difference between what's guaranteed to be coming in from Social Security and pensions and what you need to have a really nice retirement.
Well, I know that there's a risk with any retirement income plan versus safety, and there are, the two major risks I would assume are, investment opportunity loss and inflation are two of the big things that can put money at risk, right?
Yeah, I believe that's right. We'll start with inflation. Inflation is, I think, a secret thief. It's not very often that a client comes into our office and says, "Wow, Mark, I'm really worried about inflation eating away my purchasing power." We don't really think about it that way.
No.
But, when you think that every year, your money's worth 3% less, and then you consider that you may be in retirement for 25, 30, 35 years, your money may have to double twice to make ends meet. So inflation is a big deal. It really is. And then, of course, opportunity loss is about, you can put all of your money in the bank, and it certainly is safe for retirement, but because of inflation, it's going to probably disappear pretty quickly. So how can we balance the risk involved in retirement or investing along with against what we know we have to have for the rest of our lives? And that's something we can get into a little bit deeper here, in our next segment of the show.
Well, yeah, that sounds great. In fact, it is time to take a quick commercial break. And when we do come back, I want to ask about some of the solutions for our listeners to fill that gap and to make sure what a solution is or what can be used to make sure you don't have too much at risk and too much in safe. And maybe there's some middle ground. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we take a quick break?
Well, just want to remind folks, if we've touched on a nerve, so to speak, of as you're preparing for retirement or just thinking about retirement, visit the website. So it's a great way to get a lot of information about retirement, investing, and because that's all we do, Tony. We don't deal with educational planning. We don't deal with people that are necessarily age 25 that want to open a little mutual fund account. We deal with people that are getting ready for retirement, typically 50 and older. Maybe a little younger in certain cases. So, the website's masterplanyourretirement.com. Or if you just want to chat, give us a call at 770-980-9262.
Well, yeah, and there's nobody that's more fun or pleasant to sit down and have a conversation with than Mark Fricks. Mark, you're a great guy, and our listeners should take advantage of that because there's no cost or obligation. Pick up the phone, right. Give Mark a call, and have a cup of coffee with him. He's a great guy, good to talk
that sounds
to.
Great.
How's that sound,
Yep.
Mark?
That's my favorite part of the day is when I get to meet new folks that just want to come in and chat about situations and retirement and life and that kind of good stuff. So
yeah,
and I'll pay for the cup of coffee.
Awesome. That sounds like a deal. Well, we're going to be right back with more from Mark Fricks right here on Financially Tuned after this.
To hear the rest of the show or for more information, go to masterplanyourretirement.com or call Mark at 770-980-9262 to schedule an appointment.